My name is Malcolm and I'm a PSLE Science Specialist here at the Pique Lab. Welcome to another episode of PSLE Science Made Simple. In this video, I'll be going through a past year examination question on the topic of energy. I've also prepared this question for you to download for free by clicking a link in the description box below. So, let's get started. Question 20. A block of wood slid down a slope after it was released at the top as shown in this diagram below. Now, they tell us that there was no heat that was produced as the block of wood slid down the slope. And now our job is to find out which graph correctly shows us the amounts of potential and kinetic energy of the block at points P and Q. Now, whenever we tackle questions on energy, the first thing I want you guys to write out is always the energy conversion. So let's take a look at the block of wood at the top of the slope. Now, when it was being held there and before it was released, what form of energy do you think it will possess? Think about this. Is this block of wood at the ground level or is it above the ground? You can see it is above the ground. So, what form of energy would it possess? The block of wood will possess gravitational potential energy, which I will represent by GPE for short. Now, as the block is sliding down the slope, think about this. When it's sliding, it is moving, right? So, what form of energy do you think the block of wood will possess as it slides down the slope? It will possess kinetic energy. But in order for the block of wood to possess kinetic energy, it must have been converted from GPE. So, let me write this down. The GPE is converted to kinetic energy. Now, since in this question, we are supposed to find out which graph correctly shows the amount of potential and kinetic energy, let's figure out what will happen to the GPE as well as the KE for the wooden block. So think about this. As the wooden block is sliding down the slope, what would happen to the amount of GPE? Remember, GPE is being converted away to kinetic energy, So the amount of GPE, should it increase or decrease? The amount of GPE should decrease. Now, what about the amount of kinetic energy then? Think about this. GPE was converted to KE. That means over time, is there going to be more or less KE? There's going to be more KE. So, should the amount of KE increase or decrease? The amount of KE should increase. So, let's write this out. And with this understanding, we are ready to take a look at the options. Now, let's take a look at option 1 first. If we look at the amount of potential energy for option 1, what happened to the potential energy from P to Q? We can see the potential energy here decreased. Now, is that what should happen? Yes, we already said earlier, GPE should decrease. Next, what about the kinetic energy from P to Q? This time, what happened to the kinetic energy? We can see the kinetic energy increased. So, let me write that out. Which means, is this possible? Yes, option 1 is a possible answer. But let's check option 2 next. Now, for option 2, same thing. If you look at the potential energy from P to Q, did it decrease? Yes. And what about for the kinetic energy from P to Q? Did it increase? Also, yes. So, is option 2 possible? It is. Next, what about option 3? For option 3, if we look at potential energy from P to Q, this time, did it decrease? No, so we know that this one must be wrong. Now, what about option 4? If we look at the potential energy from P to Q, did it decrease? No. In fact, did the block of wood at P and Q even possess potential energy? No. But is that possible? No. Remember, the potential energy should decrease. Therefore, 4 is out. But isn't that strange? Does it mean that for question 20, there are 2 possible answers? It can be either 1 or 2? No, it cannot be. MCQs only have 1 answer. So let's figure out, what do you think is the correct answer then? Think about this. If you look at options 1 and 2 over here, can you guys spot the difference between them? Now, let me give you a clue. If you look at option 1, what was the decrease in the potential energy? We can see that the decrease is represented by this red color dotted part. Can you all see? This is the decrease. And then what was the increase in the kinetic energy? The increase in the kinetic energy is represented by this purple dotted part. Now, what about for option 2? For option 2, let me draw out the change in the potential as well as the kinetic energy. And once I'm done drawing this out, I'm sure you can spot for me what's the difference. So if you look at the difference between 1 and 2, what is the difference that you observe here? You can see that for option 1, the decrease in the potential energy and the increase in the kinetic energy, they are very similar. But what about option 2? For option 2, the decrease in the potential energy was only this much, But then, what was the increase in the kinetic energy? The increase was this much. Now, remember, if you have so much kinetic energy, that means kinetic energy was created. Now, think about this. Can energy be created? No, we learned this before. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be converted. So, it must have come from which form of energy? It must have come from the decrease in GPE. But if the decrease in GPE for option 2 is so small, do you think it's possible for the increase in kinetic energy to be so high? No. So I want you guys to circle this out. This is wrong because this is too high. And the reason is because we said earlier, energy cannot be what? Energy cannot be created. So option 2 is out. But let's check option 1. Is the decrease in potential energy and the increase in the kinetic energy the same here? Yes. So is this possible? Yes. This shows us the potential energy was converted to kinetic energy. Therefore, the correct answer over here has to be option 1.
Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you found this video useful, do give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to check out more videos by us, do click on the links on the right hand side. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!